Hello and good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the U.S. right now, anywhere from Colorado all the way down to Texas, and then over to Alabama. Yeah, we have some high wind movers out here. So we've got some high wind in this area, 60, 65 miles an hour. We've got a little bit of impacts here. A few trees down near Taylorsville. This is in the Mississippi area, some high wind out in just entering into Alabama now. And that may become a problem for Georgia later on this evening. Now you head over to Texas, and hey, I didn't ask this at the very beginning. You guys can hear me, right? See if we can get an audio check in here. Yeah, so if you go over to Texas, then you can see that we've got some storms going up near Lubbock. We've got storms going up near Odessa, Sanderson. A lot of these will be your marginally severe storms. You've got 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and half-dollar size hail. Near Odessa, what do we have? Quarter-size hailstones. And then what do we have near Post? 60s and quarters. And then you go up to Colorado, you've got some larger hailstones in Colorado. We've seen a lot of different storms over here today, but really for the most part, they've all been to the south and east of Denver. So watch this play through over the last 4 hours. We've got a 2-inch size hailstone to the southeast of Denver. A lot of stones right along I-25 there. And then the closest we've gotten to Denver all day long has been in South Platte. Now you still have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until this evening. It goes until 8 o'clock Mountain Time this evening. So we've got still a few more hours left on this watch as well. Put your questions, put your comments in the comment center, and we'll get through some of these questions here as we go into the rest of the afternoon and evening. What are we expecting here? I guess it's 6:30, so it is technically evening now. Just a little note from the National Weather Service here in Norman, so in the Oklahoma area, highlighted here in red. What are we watching for here? Well, they told us earlier that they were thinking about a 60% chance for a watch in this area. Now, this was a while ago. This was right around, see if we can get a time on here. Maybe about an hour ago, we got a meso out. Maybe a little over that. Yeah, right around 4 o'clock, so about 2 hours ago. Anyway, yeah, what they were telling us is that they were saying 60% chance to issue a watch in this area. Severe thunderstorms capable of all hazards are anticipated this evening across western and central Oklahoma. The timeline that we were really expecting storms to fire was right about now, and into the evening, late evening hours tonight. So this could be some of these storms could be a nocturnal system if we can get things going. Now, if you put on your satellite right now, we do have a few clouds out near Waynoka and Fairview, Helena and Cherokee, Alva. We've got a few clouds in this area, but for the most part, we've got a little bit of sunshine hanging out near Watonga and Leedy. It's pretty cloudy still over here in Oklahoma City. You can see that we've got some of those clouds out in Edmond, Oklahoma right now. Take a look at Edmond, a little bit bigger here on the screen. We've got lots of sunshine up in the far top of the screen there. And that is a live view out of Edmond, Oklahoma. And then that bottom camera that you see is a live view out of Colorado. We've got some storms in Colorado. You can see that we've got some very shiny roadways indicating that it's pretty wet out there right now on the roads to the south of Denver. So this camera is right over here near Roxborough Park, a few miles out. But there's your situation update. Any questions on this Saturday evening? A lot of people, I'm sure, out with your Memorial Day plans, enjoying your Memorial Day holiday plus severe storms. You know, last year at this time, I think it was Memorial Day that we had storms across Dallas. Is that correct? Let's see if we can find any confirmation on the storms. I think it was Dallas last year that we had a big severe outbreak and storms. It was either Dallas or Chicago. I can't remember exactly which area of the country it was. Last year over Memorial Weekend, I think it was that Monday too. So it was actually Memorial Day. Let's see which day that was. So it was May 27th. May 27th, 2024. Yeah, we had a 5-star event in Dallas. So that's correct. So you could get some really big storms, especially this time of the year. You guys know how it goes. It is May, so you could absolutely get some really big storms this time of the year. And it looks like just the heart of Dallas and the heart of Fort Worth got hit with really large hail this time last year. So it was a 5-star event on May 27th, which was Memorial Day. Now, just before that, May 26th, we had another severe weather outbreak, and that was across a good portion of the Missouri Valley and Tennessee Valley. So another 5-star event. So yeah, we've had some really big storms over Memorial weekend. We've got a few questions on here. What time is it supposed to hit in Colorado? So you're looking at the current radar in Colorado right now. You do have severe thunderstorm warnings going on right now. So the timeline is right now. You've got storms going into this watch right here. You've got this watch until 8 o'clock this evening. So stay weather aware through this evening, late evening hours, about 8 o'clock. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning ongoing right now in South Platte. That's for $half size hail. So you could get a pretty good hailer out of these two storms right here. And then another severe thunderstorm warning down the Calhoun and Rama area. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but I quite doubt it. 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and quarter-size hail in this area as well. Again, we've got a watch going on right now. See a few other people popping onto the chat over here. I can see your comments in the far bottom of your screen. I'll pop them up and be able to show you what people are commenting. But again, that top camera on the right there, that is your Edmond camera. And then that bottom camera on the right, that is your Denver, just south of Denver camera, right around the Twin Forks Park area. And while we're waiting for storms to pop in Oklahoma, because we do have some storm chasers chasing in Oklahoma right now, we'll wait and see if they can get any good video for us. We can do a little forecast to show you what to expect as we head into the next few days. So we do have another round of storms tomorrow. So let's switch over here. And show you the next round of storms. So for today, we have a slight risk up in Colorado, central Colorado, including Denver, and then we have an enhanced risk anywhere from Tulsa to Oklahoma City to the western side of Oklahoma. You can see that highlighted in orange right here. But a lot of others are included in this marginal risk, a slight risk, all the way from Lubbock out to most of Oklahoma and then out to the Gulf states as well. Your wind risk today is pretty average, 60, 65-mile-per-hour wind speeds, maybe higher in some places. But really what we're watching for today is that hail risk. Large hail is going to be the biggest impact here, not only to central Colorado, which is what we're seeing right now. We're seeing some pretty decent hail sizes at the moment, but we are also watching for large hail anywhere from Oklahoma City to Woodward. Now, what the National Weather Service was saying in their forecast discussion earlier this afternoon was that there was a little bit of a cap And we were waiting for storms just to break that cap. And from our meteorologists and our storm chasers right now that are out in northwestern Oklahoma are saying that storms are popping, but, and I quote right now, looking a little shabby. That is coming from our storm chasers out in northwestern Oklahoma. So we appreciate their pictures. We appreciate them sending in their reports as well. And we may get to talk to a few of them in just a few minutes. But let's get on to your next round of storms, which comes tomorrow. We have another enhanced risk for Oklahoma City, Norman, Wichita Falls, and Fort Sill. So this will be in southwestern Oklahoma. We have a slight risk, a level 2 risk from Amarillo all the way out to Birmingham, Alabama. Now let's check in, and we even have a marginal risk for Denver. This time of year, you really have to be very weather aware in Denver, because if I was to choose one place across the entire country that would surprise you, it would be Denver, Colorado. This area will surprise you. You're not expecting these crazy storms, and then all of a sudden they will go a little rogue. Now for tomorrow, this is your wind threat right here. We are expecting these storms to have a very high wind threat for tomorrow. So we're talking about Fort Sill, Oklahoma City, all the way back to between the state line and Amarillo. We are expecting a pretty high wind threat tomorrow. And then if we talk about hail, large hail also expected for central Oklahoma, all the way back to the southwest. So again, we're talking about our Memorial weekend, where we are expecting a lot of people out on the roads, a lot of people traveling. Don't get caught off guard from these intense storms that we are expecting to have tomorrow. Going to Monday now. Monday, we have another round for storms. This pivots down to the south into places like Midland, Fort Stockton, Wichita Falls, Dallas, and Waco. So if you're joining us from the DFW area, you're in the risk for storms on Monday as well. So this is your Monday risk. We've got one person joining us asking about Northwest Arkansas. So on the northern side of Arkansas, you guys are going to be out of that storm risk for Monday. Let's check in tomorrow. Let's go back a day here. You've got a risk for storms in Northwest Arkansas on Monday. Excuse me, on Sunday. This is day 2, so this would be Sunday. Sunday's risk. Northwest Arkansas. Thinking it's too cold in Colorado for hail in Denver. Let's see, let's test your theory here. I love these conversations because it's great interaction. So we do have some hail, $50 size, coming into the South Platte, Roxborough Park area. Let's check the temperature difference. Temperature in Denver, about 63 degrees. If you go down to Centennial, 64 degrees. 63 degrees in Pikeview. So no, I wouldn't say that surface temperatures are too much of an impact. Maybe, I don't know the exact temperature in Denver right now. But obviously you can still get some hail if it's 64, because we're seeing that in this area near Roxborough Park. But great question. Good question. Now it's this is the chilliest 79 degrees I've ever seen here in Oklahoma City. It's pretty cloudy out here right now. It's, as you can see in your Edmund camera on the far right top portion of your screen, it's pretty cloudy right now. Does not feel like 79 degrees out there, in my opinion. Now, for those of you in Denver, I know that we've got a lot of people watching from Colorado right now. For those of you in Denver, the National Weather Service of, I think you guys are getting this from Norman, National Weather Service, National Storm Prediction Center, excuse me. So the SPC issued this a few minutes ago. They said that situation update here, strong to locally severe storms will continue through the evening. An earlier storm cluster has consolidated into a supercell northeast of Colorado Springs. So that's this one right here. So an earlier storm cluster has consolidated into a supercell early this evening with recent redevelopment noted farther west. That's this one right here. And I'm reading through what they're saying here. They're saying convection has failed to move appreciably east of the Front Range, likely due to stronger SIN with eastward extent. However, continued redevelopment within the favorable postfrontal regime may eventually lead to some upscale growth, and a forward propagating cluster may eventually emerge and persist farther east into the lower elevations. So what does that mean? That's a bunch of meteorology speak for we're going to see these storms continue to push to the east, and we may see a few more pop up. For the most part, these will remain isolated and clustered. So you're going to see maybe 1-2 clusters, maybe this little supercell continue to track to the east as we head into the evening hours. So they're going to keep this watch in place here as we head into the next few hours. Basically, they're saying what's happening right now is going to keep happening. Any other questions? Denver, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama. As for Oklahoma, we're still sitting with a few clouds out in the northwestern side of the state. A few clouds out here. We're seeing the sun come out just a little bit in central Oklahoma. But as our Stormchaser said earlier, and I quote, looking a little shabby. So let's go to the models and let's see what our models have to say about these storms. What are we expecting over the next few hours? Let me get some models pulled up here. Now, the first thing that I see from this model that I'll show you guys here in just a minute is that the HRRR wanted storms to fire in Oklahoma a while ago. The HRRR expected storms to already be going pretty strong at this point. So obviously we've seen some poor model verification today. But let me get this set up for you and then I'll show you your full future radar here in just a minute. What other questions do we have? We have one question about Colorado right now. So far, $0.50 reported in Colorado. Yeah, and you guys got a 2-incher earlier too. So that was a few hours ago. We saw some pretty decent hail earlier this afternoon, but I haven't seen anything larger than a $0.50 within the past few hours. Alrighty, we are switching over to our graphics system here. What in the world is going on with our graphics system? It's all out of whack. Make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. So you're seeing some behind the scenes of our graphic system right now. You're seeing the models that we have in our system. If you watch our noon forecast, then you'll be able to see this. Just about every single day at noon, we show you a full forecast. And here, let me make this a little bit more conducive to your screen. All righty, here's your future radar. Pull my camera back over. All right, let's get to it. Here's your future radar. We've got Oklahoma City right in the center of the screen there. This is the HRR model. So the HRR model, you can see the model name right there, or HRRR, I've heard some meteorologists call it. Now, the model definitely wanted to see some storms before now because we had storms firing right around 5, 6 o'clock near Enid, Oklahoma, right around 35 north of Guthrie, Oklahoma. These storms were expected to continue to track down to the south and into Oklahoma City by about 10:30 this evening, and then maybe become a little bit more widespread through the overnight hours, wrapping up by early tomorrow morning. Then we are expecting to have another round of storms tomorrow. Let's check the NAM. What did the NAM see here? So the NAM in a very similar spot when it storms to form near the Enid and 35 area, maybe even some storms farther down to the south near I-40, but very similar timing here. 5 o'clock is whenever storms were expected to form here in Oklahoma. Now it is obviously 7 o'clock and we have not seen storms yet, so model verification wasn't great today. Enid down to Oklahoma City through the late night hours, so we could be talking about 10:30 with storms here in Oklahoma City. And then wrapping up by early tomorrow morning. So the timing there was pretty similar for Oklahoma City on both models. However, obviously we've seen that's not the case. It didn't happen. And speaking of Oklahoma, let's check in with a Stormchaser right now. Let's go back to our radar right now, and we'll check in with meteorologist Matt Van Every. He is sitting out in Oklahoma right now. He's storm chasing for us today. So 1 second, Matt, and we will see your video. All right, Matt, I think that you can hear me. I can hear you as well. If you can, tell me what you're seeing out there. You guys are out and tell me where you're at too. Where exactly in Oklahoma are you?
We're over by Putnam, Oklahoma, towards Thomas, just south of Sealing, Oklahoma. And some towers trying to go up. You can see them at higher elevations on radar, and still having some issues with CAP. But we'll give it, it's 7 p.m., so we'll give it another 30 minutes or so and see what happens.
Matt, I see several cars in this area. I'm assuming a lot of these are storm chasers. Have you seen a lot of storm chasers out there today?
There's definitely several of them today. Not as many as on May, I think it was May 18th, but there's definitely a few out today enjoying the long weekend.
Yeah, really. Some people taking this as a late weekend, some people taking this as a storm chasing weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
So you said you're staying out until what time? Were you going to give it another hour at least?
Yeah, we'll stay with it for a little bit and see what happens. It's kind of just pulsy, turkey towers, just kind of going up and then kind of stalling out with the cap and working on it a little bit. Satellite's showing a little bit of a shadow on the tower, so hopefully that means that it's nice and healthy and can survive the next hour or so. Conditions are looking pretty favorable though. We've got a strong east wind at the surface on a boundary with the low-level jet kicking in right now. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you're seeing them turkey a little bit there. Now, I know what that means. That's a storm chaser term, though. Okay, explain to people what you mean by that.
Yeah, early on in storms, on storm days, you'll start off with some white puffy clouds. We call them cumulus clouds, and then they'll, as they get a little bit more you could say agitated, just from daytime heating. They'll turn into towers. Not full thunderstorms, probably not even any rain at the time. And then those will grow. They kind of look like a turkey neck, so that's why we call them. And they're kind of the um, condition before the storm. And what they do is they work on the capping inversion, where you got hot air aloft which is blocking growth, and they will sit there and just kind of work at it and um, slowly erode the capping inversion. Speaking of storm chasers, we just passed the National Severe Storms Lab, the Ice Chips program, and a bunch of radars, and about 30 scientists playing football in a field. So they're having a good time.
30 scientists playing football in a field. This seems like classic Twisters movie. Twisters that just came out this past summer. It seems like something you would see in the Twisters movie. And we may be losing Matt's stream. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, starting to lose a little bit of service here, but there is 2 new towers kind of going up in this conglomerate. It's we're coming into Putnam now, heading northbound towards Sealing, and there's been just consistent towers in the same spot. I think the convective temp this morning or this afternoon, which is the temperature, the surface temperature where you'll start to get thunderstorm activity, was 94 if I remember, and we're sitting at like 91 in the area. So we'll keep an eye on it, but it's definitely starting to go back up again. Here's the tornado tank driving by. I think that was the TIV. I don't know if you were able to see that. And there you can kind of see a little bit more of the tower there.
Yeah, we could see it. And that's Timmer, right?
That was Sean Casey.
Sean Casey. Okay.
Sean Casey.
It's Chaser Central out there right now, and
everyone's kind of coming
reason.
together. I think this is probably the only game in town for the moment, probably within Oklahoma. So I think we'll see more and more chasers start to pull around.
I agree. Yeah, especially as more storms start going up. Well, keep us updated, Matt. I'll let you go right now so that you can get in place for that next storm to hopefully go up and give us some action tonight.
Well, we definitely need the rain for sure.
Oh, and Matt's audio may be going out, so let's try this one more time. Oh no, yeah. Okay, so Matt's getting into an area where the service may not be great, but we do see his shot right there. And just a reminder that where he is right now is right where these storms are going up. You can see the first green on the radar right here. Look at that. Some of the first green that we've seen in Oklahoma since early this morning whenever we got storms. So again, he is near the Visay area. He said just near Putnam. So I take it back just a little bit farther to the east near Putnam right now. So he's got eyes on the storms. Let's see if his audio has gotten any better. No, it's still kind of cutting in and out. So Matt, if you can hear us right now, I'm going to go ahead and take you off the screen, but keep us updated, take videos, and jump back on whenever you start to see something interesting. And again, just for a situational update here, where was Matt at? He was just along the Tologa and Putnam area here. I don't know its exact location, but it was in this area. So we've got lots of storm chasers out there right now. That Edmond camera on the right side of the screen showing us that we have a little bit of sunshine coming out closer to the city. Here you go in Edmond, Oklahoma, a little bit of sunshine in this area, but that's not where the storms are. The storms will be a little bit farther out to the west. And we've got chasers out there right now. So we'll show you guys exactly what happens over the next few hours. But we were looking at models just a few minutes ago, and let's see, models, they weren't doing great about what was going to happen. Did Matt jump back on? No, it looks like he's not. Okay. Yeah, models, they weren't doing great. They were not handling the situation very great today. So I actually want to check a few more. I want to pull up the WAF for you. So the WAF is Warn on Forecast. And what that is it's a new program by, I think it's the Storm Prediction Center. It's by NOAA. And they have developed a very real time, and let's see if they have something for today. What's today? The 24th? Oh, I'm surprised that the WAF is not running today. Yeah, very surprised. The last time they ran the WAF was on the 22nd, so this past Thursday. So they do not have it up right now, and I'm actually kind of surprised about that. Maybe they will within the next few hours. Anyway, well, I can't show you that model because it's not running today. What other questions do we have on this Saturday afternoon? Let's look at a few more models. Now, I want to show you all the HER, and I'm going to pull up my screen again. Here, I'm gonna situate myself here. So this is the HER model. Here you go. You can see it a little bit better now. Now the latest run really does want to pull storms into this area that Matt was sitting at earlier. Okay, so you saw all of the storm chasers out in this area, and the HER really does want storms to fire in this area right along that boundary. You can see that boundary where the winds start to converge. That would be the boundary right there. And the HER wants to have these storms be pretty explosive, go up pretty fast, just to the north of I-40. Anywhere from the ceiling area all the way down to, what would this be? Maybe Weatherford? It may be just to the east of Weatherford, Oklahoma. I'm going to check my locations here and see if we can. Yeah, I think Weatherford would probably be a pretty safe bet for where that. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to say from like ceiling to Weatherford, we're expecting these storms to go up within the next hour. They're going to become a little bit more widespread as we head into the evening hour, the late evening hours, the early night hours by about 9-10 o'clock, and then continue to track to the south as we head into the overnight hours. We may even see a little bit more development farther up to the north in places like Enid and Guthrie areas as well. This will continue into the early morning hours tomorrow morning and then start to taper off as we head into early tomorrow morning. However, new development farther up into southern Kansas and northern Oklahoma could give us a very loud Sunday morning. A loud wake up to your Sunday morning this Memorial weekend. And since we checked on Oklahoma, I guess we should probably check on Colorado as well, because we've had several people joining us from Colorado. So here's a look at Colorado. There's Denver right there. Over the next few hours, we do have a storm to the southwest of Denver right now, and then we have a storm to the northeast of Colorado Springs. As we go through the next few hours, we're going to continue to see storms in this area. They may continue to track to the east just a little bit. Look, the HER wants to pull a few more storms near Colorado Springs, and then we'll continue to see them track to the eastern side of the state as we head into the late night hours tonight and early morning hours tomorrow morning. So there's an update on Denver. What other questions do we have? Do we have any other questions on timing? We have one question. What's going to happen in Oklahoma? Yeah, we were talking about Oklahoma a few minutes ago, but we can go back down to the models here in Oklahoma. The HER wants to bring in storms in the next hour. It's quiet right now. We have the first little blip on the map from the radar showing that we've got some clouds out to the northern and western portion of the state, and maybe just a few raindrops, maybe just the first few sprinkles of the evening. But it does look like storms want to go up very, very fast today. And this is the HER model, but why don't we switch over to the NAM and see if the NAM nest and see if we've got any other conflicting models here. Yeah, about the same area, just to the north and west of the city of Oklahoma City, and then more development later on through the overnight hours. Again, now this will be, now the HER wants this to be up in southern Kansas. The NAM wants to bring this down to northwestern Oklahoma. So we'll have to see what happens there. And then Tulsa could also get into the mix as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Tulsa got some really strong winds late last night. It was enough to blow over lots of tree limbs down in Tulsa and the Broken Arrow side of town. And it also cut up some power in Tulsa. Linda asking, what about Tulsa, please? So we can take a look at Tulsa from this model. It looks like storms will be pretty low chance for storms this evening, better chance for the overnight hours. So it could be a pretty early wake up call for you guys overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So again, make sure that you are keeping an eye on this, having multiple ways to get your storm alert through the overnight hours in case something does pop up through the overnight hours. I bet you'll have probably torrential rain for quite some time. But if we want to get a sounding on this here, a sounding is a vertical structure of the atmosphere. Let's see what our sounding says here in Tulsa. And then after this, we'll get another check with our Stormchaser, Matt Van Every, who is out in northwestern Oklahoma right now. But if we look at a sounding at this time in Tulsa, so we're talking about early tomorrow morning, like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. You could have some hail with this. You could have a pretty decent hailer, maybe 2.5 inches for your max hail size tomorrow morning in Tulsa. So before you go to sleep tonight, try to pull your car into the garage. Alrighty, enough of our models here. Let's get another check with Matt Van Every. If nothing else, we'll just show his video here. And Matt, we can see your view right here. It's such a great Oklahoma view. You've got the fields in the background there. Maybe a wind farm is what we saw earlier, and then the sun peeking through the clouds in the distance as well.
Yeah, we found a little place to pull off and be able to look west. And there's still a tower. It's kind of hard to see right now because of the way the sun's got things covered up. But there is a tower kind of coming in the due west of us. So that would be just south of Visay, which is a very small town out here. And we've got a little bit of a base kind of continuing to form where we're at. We are just north of Putnam, just south of Sealing. And there's a little bit of reflectivity on the radar right where we're at. And you kind of see the base is starting to form a little tighter. You can see that it's trying to get some flow in from the south here. That's kind of this leading dark from right to left. In my shot, you can see where there's some inflow coming in from the low levels. So hopefully that means that it's trying to take some of the air from the surface below the cap and continue to erode the cap. As the sun kind of pokes out, you might be able to see another tower off in the far distance. It's about, that one's probably due south of Visay, about 12 miles to my west. Whereas this one that we're looking at here is about 5 miles to my west.
Okay, so you've got several options for that first storm to form.
Yeah, there's on this outflow boundary, there's definitely, it's been pretty persistent with about 3, 4, 5 different towers that have been kind of going up. A thunderstorm, the precursor to a thunderstorm, kind of go up and then kind of settle back down, and it's been pretty consistent here for about an hour and a half, and just continuing to slowly erode on the cap as the low level jet starts to kick in now that it's about 7:20, and the winds start coming out of the south, and we've got kind of a due east to southeast wind at the surface. So we definitely have some turning with height with those winds, and you can kind of see the sun starting to come out now, but still kind of persistently the same right now.
Persistently the same. Well, I was checking models earlier, and the herd definitely wanted to have storms forming right in your location. Anywhere from you to Weatherford was where it was putting those first few storms. And it kind of had the feel of once they go up, like once it's on, it's on. So I'm wondering if things will happen very, very fast within the next few hours.
Yeah, I mean, just visually, again, the turkey towers, as we called them a little bit ago, but the towers are pretty crisp up until about 700 millibars. You can start to see they soften up and kind of fall over, and that's right where the cap is today. And so they go up. They're pretty energetic, and then they fall over as they hit the layer of warm air. But I do believe we're working with quite a bit of energy today, so we'll see if that happens. The other thing too, I noticed on satellite, I was just looking at satellite for a few minutes, and it looks like there's a little bit of a wave coming through that is coming in. It's about the Oklahoma-Texas border right now. And and if you're looking at satellite or looking at radar across the nation, you can see it's kicking off some storms down in near Abilene, Texas. And there's a couple of other cumulus working underneath it, and a little bit of cirrus with it as well. So definitely cirrus being the high level clouds at 30, 40,000 feet up. And so there's definitely something coming that is increasing lift in the atmosphere. So we'll see that's about 30 minutes away, ballpark. So again, continuing to watch it and see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll keep an eye on your stream here. We'll let you go for now, but definitely keep us updated. We appreciate it.
Sounds good.
And again, Matt is over here between that Putnam and ceiling area right here. And we do see exactly what he's mentioning, where he has several clouds going up around him, several tall, towering cumulus clouds going up around him. And these are your first few indications that we are having a pretty good chance for storms to form within the next few minutes, as he mentioned, probably about the next 30 minutes. But he had a great point that if we widen our view here and if we go out a little bit, we have storms forming across the country. If we go down into Texas, into the Hamlin area, we've got a storm just to the north of Abilene. And let's take a look at where this storm is headed. It's pretty stationary, but it is a very slow northeast track right now. So I was seeing if that was going to go into Abilene. It doesn't look like it will. It looks like it's going to go into the Stanford area, but it's not the only storm in the area. It's not the only game in the market. You can see that you've got storms farther up to the north as well, into Aspermont and then into just west of Knox City. This one storm out near Lubbock has been sitting in the same place over the last few hours. You can see let's turn okay. Over the last 4 hours, we've seen this storm not moving too much here. Yeah, it's been a pretty slow mover today. And there's those storms out near Hamlin. Lots of lightning with that storm. We've got a few more storms out near Odessa, Texas as well. These are also storms that have not moved too much over the last few hours either. These are warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Yeah, so nothing terribly impressive in this area. However, maybe we could see something a little bit more impressive over the next few hours. Colorado, getting a situation update in Colorado. You guys have had some large hail today, a 2-inch size hail report earlier this afternoon. Few warnings in this area, but for the most part, it's been anywhere from quarters to $half size hail with very, very isolated 2 inches every now and then. And then you've got another cluster of storms moving into the Castle Rock area right now. And that is the only warning that we have in Colorado at the moment is Castle Rock. Now you go even farther out to the south and east and into the Gulf states here, Hattiesburg, Columbia. You can tell by just the radar that this is a wind producer. This is going to be strong wind right now. And it is 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and quarter-size hail. We even had some damage reported just from the National Weather Service just a few hours ago, with a few trees down near Taylorsville, and yeah, just a few trees down in this area. So we may see some power outages in this area from those fallen trees as well. And there's your situation update. Anywhere from Colorado to Texas to Oklahoma, we are keeping an eye on storms. That camera view in the right-hand corner of the screen, in the right side of the screen there, right third of the screen, that is Edmond, Oklahoma. You can see people are walking around, enjoying the evening, enjoying the Memorial weekend. The sun is out a little bit. It's a bit hazy out there. So we've got some of those clouds that Matt was talking about earlier. And as we turn on our clouds, yeah, we've just got a little haze going on across both Oklahoma City and Edmond right now. But that's not really where we're watching for our storms to form. Storms are looking a lot more promising anywhere from Camargo all the way out to Sealing, Tologa, and Putnam. Things are looking a little bit more impressive now than they were a half hour ago. That's for sure. I'm reading some of the things from our meteorologist chat right now, seeing if there's any updates for you all at the moment. But I don't see too many updates. We've got a few questions and comments coming into the chat here. We appreciate you guys commenting here. Amy's saying, nice view. We appreciate it. Yeah, this is the best view in Edmond from the tallest building in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's the third floor of this building, so it's not the tallest point of the building, but it is technically in the tallest building in Edmond, Oklahoma. Thanks for commenting, you guys. Any other questions here? If there are no other questions, we can go back to some of our models, because we have a few more people jumping in right now. And you guys didn't see the models earlier. So we can go back to some of our models and tell you what's expected to happen over the next few hours, because I think that's really what people want to see here, is what's going to happen as we head into the 8 o'clock hour, the 9 o'clock hour. Maybe you have dinner plans tonight. One person asking the timing for Colorado Springs and Denver. We can go up to Colorado. Any other places that we want to check in on this evening? We've talked a lot about Oklahoma, so we can go across to other places. So give me just a minute to set up the view for Colorado. So here's the future radar in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. This is the HER model. It looked like storms are likely to continue as we head into the next few hours. We've got a cluster of storms right now near the Castle Rock area. So that's what the HER is showing, 7:30, cluster of storms near Castle Rock. This could continue as we head into the evening hours tonight, but you'll slowly see the most severe, the strongest storms push to the east as we head into the next few hours, making this a little bit bigger for you to see here. Yeah, so you're watching for storms to slowly push to the east. You can see that now out by the Limon area. Am I saying that correctly? You'll continue to see storms push to the east as you head into the overnight hours tonight, and then maybe a few showers, but they most likely will not be severe as we head into early tomorrow morning. A few other comments and questions in here. One person saying from quiet Minnesota, and you guys are pretty cold up there, it looks like. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm wondering, are you saying it's quiet in Minnesota, or are you from quiet Minnesota? Let's check your temperatures. Guys are in the 60s across most of Minnesota, maybe some 50s sneaking in there. It has been a pretty cold Memorial weekend. 70s and 80s is what we have here in Oklahoma City right now, but I can promise you that it feels colder than that out there. I was needing a jacket earlier today, and it definitely didn't feel like the 70s. It didn't feel like Memorial weekend. I see we've got a lot of people joining on from X right now, from Twitter. I'm not quite sure you can comment on Twitter. You can comment on Facebook and you can comment on YouTube. So head over to Facebook and YouTube if you want to send us your comments or your weather questions. Again, we have storm chasers in this area in Sealing and Tologa area waiting for these storms to fire. What you see from these little white and blue marks on the screen right now, those are your clouds. So those are those tall cumulus clouds. And you can't see exactly how tall they are at the moment, but you can see that some of those the tallest cumulus clouds are sitting over Lenora, Oklahoma right now. So we'll see what happens over the next few hours if we can get anything out of this. I do want to see the movement of these storms. So they're moving to the east. You've also got an east wind going into this. Yeah, over the last few hours, we've seen a few more clouds in this area. They've gotten a little bit taller, so that's pretty promising to see something happen. So we do have storm chasers out there right now, and we will continue to take their video and we'll continue to watch their stream as they get in position for some of these storms. And what they were saying earlier was they were saying there's a lot of storm chasers in this area, you know, and actually we can show you that. Let's show you some of the storm spotters. Wonder where those storms are. Lots of people just waiting for storms to form. So yes, we've got lots of chasers in this area. Holy moly. And these are just the spotters that have their radar scope or their location turned on. You can see the Storm Prediction Center locations for storms that they're expecting today. They're saying the most numerous amount of storms expected to fire or happen in this area right here. That's your enhanced risk, your level 3 on a scale of 5. That does include Oklahoma City, Okmulgee, Tulsa, Hominy, Enid, Weatherford, Oklahoma. It looks like our first few storms will be starting in this area right here. And then we could see more development as we head into the late night hours. Let's go through some of your different hazards here. So your different hazards include your tornado hazard, anywhere from Kingfisher to Weatherford to Oklahoma City. You've got that hail risk here, that 30% hail risk here. Weatherford, Kingfisher, Tulsa, Bristow. And Tulsa, you're going to have a late night storm system here. Okay, so a few more cells happening in the late night hours. And Jack, I see your question, timeline for storms for Stillwater, Oklahoma tonight. Yeah, let's get back to your timeline. We'll take a look at more models here in just a minute. Wind risk, tornado risk, hail risk, classic categories, enhanced, highlighted in orange, a slight risk highlighted in yellow, and then that marginal risk in green. All right, and as we wait for storms to form, let's go back to your forecast here. One second. So here's the forecast. We pulled up we've pulled up College of DuPage, so we've got your weather models. Oh, okay. Alrighty, let's look at models here. If you guys could hear in the background, my dog was barking, and that's just what you get whenever you work from home, right? Oh, and we got a few more barks left in us. Alrighty. I'm looking out the window to see what she can see. There's nothing out there. I'm not quite sure what she's barking at, but for anyone who has a dog, you know how it goes, right? What was our question? Our question was Stillwater, Oklahoma. So let's take a look at her model here. So this is for Stillwater, Oklahoma. What time do we expect storms to form in Stillwater? So we are expecting to see a few storms over the next few hours here, right? Let's go to the most recent model run here. Storms will start out in northwestern Oklahoma and that northwest corridor there. And then what we'll see is storms continuing to develop to the east as we head into the late night hours. So a timeline for Stillwater will be between probably 8 and 9 tonight. I would expect those first few sprinkles to come in, or maybe a few more storms around your area between 8 and 9 tonight, but probably an increasing chance into the overnight hours. We're talking about 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. And that's whenever storms will slowly get closer to Tulsa as we head into the overnight hours tonight between midnight and 1. Your severe risk will probably slow down by early tomorrow morning, but then increase again as we head into daylight hours tomorrow. So here we are about maybe shortly before daylight, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You're going to see storms back in Stillwater once again. Now, I know that you can't see Tulsa, Oklahoma on here, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions about Tulsa. So let's see if we can bring Tulsa into the mix here. And I've got a few tabs open on my computer, and you guys kind of know the drill. Whenever I do this from home, it does take me a minute to get everything situated and to pull different things up. And Tulsa, man, we really can't get Tulsa into the mix here. Let's just make this bigger. All right, you can see the full screen here. There you can see Tulsa. Timeline for Tulsa, Oklahoma. You could see a few sprinkles this evening. However, I really think that this will be an overnight event for that severe stuff. Overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning, I would stay pretty weather aware. If you've got any early morning plans, like headed out to church, you may have a few storms on your way into church and maybe even into the early afternoon tomorrow. So make sure that you are staying weather aware for those storms that are expecting to come in here. I'll tell you your timing here. This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock tomorrow. We can look at the NAM and see the NAM as well. So this is the NAM nest. Timeline for Stillwater for the NAM nest, pretty similar, really. We're talking about the first few sprinkles within the next 2 to 3 hours, probably between that 8 to 9 o'clock hour, maybe a little bit later than that, but then increasing storm coverage as we head into the overnight hours tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Again, it does look like Tulsa is expecting to get those storms just shortly before sunrise tomorrow, and then continuing into your lunchtime hours, starting to wrap up by lunchtime, but you may see some redeveloping storms, keeping it pretty rainy across Oklahoma for tomorrow. And there's your forecast. Your forecast with a side of dog barking in the background. She's pretty quiet. She really is a very quiet dog, but sometimes she likes to make her presence known. And apparently this was her time. If we look ahead to the next few days, I know that this is a long holiday weekend for a lot of people. So you guys are off work. You guys are probably trying to get outside. I know this is a very big weekend for outside activities. What are we expecting in terms of the next few days, Sunday and Monday? Let's take a look at those storm prediction outlooks. Here we go. So here's today. We have storms from Denver all the way over to Tulsa and then to Birmingham, Alabama. So we've got Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, and then a few of our Gulf states included in the risk for today. As we look ahead for tomorrow, it does look like we're expecting storms anywhere from Fort Sill down to Lubbock, Abilene, Texas. Dallas is included in those storms on Sunday. However, Monday is going to be a better chance for Dallas to get in on that storm risk. On Monday, we see those storms shift down to the south, anywhere from Waco to Dallas to Midland and Abilene, Texas. So there's your risk for Monday. Tuesday, nothing yet. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nothing yet. So it really does look like a lot of these storms are centered around Memorial Weekend. Again, tomorrow you've got another risk for storms here in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Norman, Fort Sill, Wichita Falls, all included in that storm risk here. A little update from our storm chasers out in the field. So they're out in northwestern Oklahoma right now, and they're saying I'm about 50-50 on these things breaking the cap. So we'll see over the next hour. Are we expecting storms to break the cap? It's definitely possible. So Jack, great question about timeline for storms in Oklahoma tonight. What other questions do we have? We've got a beautiful sunset over Edmond, Oklahoma right now. It's a golden hour right now. You can see that we've got some clouds in the distance. This camera needs to be tilted up a little bit so we can see more of those clouds. Yep, just over the Whataburger. We've got a great sunset for you guys. Again, this is Edmond, Oklahoma, which is just to the north of Oklahoma City. For those of you not familiar with the Oklahoma cities, here's Oklahoma City. Go to the north up Highway 35 and you get into Edmond, and that is where our camera is right now, just south of downtown Edmond. Where are the storms expecting to form? Expected to form out here, Sealing, Putnam, Tologa. Ooh, we're watching for it. We've got a few chasers out here as well. Weatherford. Storms wanted, the HER wanted storms to form anywhere from Sealing to Weatherford, Oklahoma. Any other questions here? You know what I mean? I'm going to take a very short break while I wait for your questions to come in. So let me know, think about your questions, your weather questions and comments, and then we'll do a little around the radar again. We'll go back through some of these storms that are firing in Texas. We'll go back through some of these storms that are firing along the Gulf, and we will wait for, you guys hear my dog barking? And we'll wait for these storms to fire in Oklahoma. We do have storm chasers out there, so we have our eyes on it, and we'll keep you guys updated. Alrighty, we are jumping back on to give you guys an update from Oklahoma. So we do have some storms going up in Oklahoma right now, and we are about to get to one of our chasers who's out in the field as well. But before we get to Matt Van Every out in the field, I do want to give you an update on a watch that is about to be issued in northwestern and western Oklahoma. So the National Weather Service saying here that we have an 80% chance for a watch to be issued this evening. They're saying supercell development remains possible this evening. A threat for tornadoes, very large hail, and damaging winds could evolve if development occurs. So, with eyes on the storm right now, developing occurring potentially right is Matt Van Every. We can see, hear you as well. Tell us what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, we're in the same spot we were about 7 o'clock, 7:17 when I was on with you. And we've got some initiation trying to start, some thunderstorm development. This is one of those turkey towers that, as I mentioned, is starting and growing. Tower tops are at about 40,000 feet in the air, but still a little concerned about the cap environment, choking it off, where you've got some warm air kind of in the mid levels, and that you can kind of see it there where it gets a little skinny and then grows again. So we'll see, but there is a little bit more convection on the north side of the tower. You can see a little bubble going up right now. So every time one of those goes up, it takes a little bit more moisture with it and reduces the significance of the cap. We're starting to see some low-level inflow coming into it. It's been doing that on and off. And, you know, again, these are pulsy type storms. They kind of go up, they get soft, and then they kind of come back down as they work against the cap. I'll pan a little bit off to this would be to my due north. And you can see another storm trying to go up, not quite there. You can see, though, just sitting here and watching it, you can see them rotate as they go up. So there's definitely rotation in these cumulus clouds. Again, these aren't quite storms yet, I wouldn't say, but they are continuing to grow and organize. Back to you.
Yeah, so there is rotation right now. It's a typical Oklahoma view where we can see the cows in the background there. You're in a field. So again, for everyone who is wondering where Matt is at right now, this is northwestern Oklahoma. So let me find your location on the map here. Just along the highway here between Sealing and Putnam. This is where he's been sitting over the past few hours, just waiting for these storms to form. And it's this typical Oklahoma storm setup day. The sun finally came out. Those clouds started to go up, but we're fighting the cap, as Matt says. So Matt, we'll keep an eye on your stream and feel free to jump in if there's any other updates that you have for us.
Sounds great.
So while Matt is jumping or is watching these storms for us here, I do want to give you guys an update of what the National Weather Service has given us here with this potential severe thunderstorm watch. So for those of you who are still jumping on and maybe didn't see our update earlier, we are waiting for a severe thunderstorm watch for all of those highlighted in red here. So that goes anywhere from Woodward all the way down to Hobart. Chickasha, Shawnee, all included in that potential watch over the next few hours here. And they are expecting the potential for supercell development. Now, in their discussion here, they're saying, let me read this real quick and give you guys an update. So they're saying that deep layer shear, so you need that turn, that rotation in the storms, which is what Matt was telling us earlier, that there's a little bit of rotation here. They're saying deep layer shear is sufficient for supercells and photographs will increase with size through the evening in conjunction with a strengthening low-level jet. Now, especially as we get into the later portion of the spring season, we see that low-level jet start to become more of a factor in these storms here. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing this, especially into the evening hours, become more of a factor here. And that's what the National Weather Service is saying. They're saying that there is still some uncertainty remaining regarding the potential for development this evening. So they're saying exactly what we heard from Matt, is that the cap could play a factor in storm development here. Will we get storms? If we do get storms, we could see tornadoes, very large hail, and damaging winds. And I would like to correct what I said earlier. It is not a severe thunderstorm watch that we are waiting for here from the National Weather Service. They're expecting a tornado watch. So a tornado watch is likely if storm initiation appears imminent this evening. So they are just kind of waiting for a little bit more time to see what these storms will do. We'll see if we can get anything impressive here, but Matt's got his eyes on it. You can see that on the left portion of your screen. And then we are also watching it from radar here in the studio. So we have our eyes all across Oklahoma right now. We've got a few more chasers out there as well, and we'll keep up with them if they see anything different to report. But I do want to tell you, if we take a look across the nation right now, we do have storms out near South Platte. This is just to the south of Denver, Colorado. Got a pretty good looking storm out in Elizabeth and Kiowa in the eastern portion, southeastern of Denver. If you go farther down to the south, we've been watching this storm for quite some time in Texas. This is in Dickens, Texas. And we've got a 61 mile per hour wind gusts out here. So it's a pretty decent wind with this. However, the hail in this area does not look too intimidating. I take that back. Ping pong ball size hail with this storm that's down in Spur, Dickens, Texas. Let's go farther down to the south here and look at some of these storms. 2-inch size hail and 70 mile per hour wind gusts in La Mesa, Texas. And a few more severe thunderstorm warnings, quarters and 60 mile per hour wind gusts from this far southern storm down here. So that's kind of your situation across Texas right now. We officially do not have any severe warned storms anywhere from Mississippi to Alabama. So this is really the area that we're watching for right now, this area of Texas on the western side, just to the south of Denver. And then, of course, we have been keeping an eye on these storms across Oklahoma for quite some time now. Let's get to some of your chats and your questions here in the comments section here. Linda has asked about where is the barrier? Will the barrier keep the more severe storms elevated, or do we still have a chance for tornadoes here in Tulsa? Trying to get a grasp on this whole thing. You're from California. Okay, so yes, you still have a chance for severe storms in Tulsa. Probably your biggest risk here is going to be large hail and high wind, and it's going to be a late night storm. Okay, it's either going to be late night or early tomorrow morning in Tulsa. But you do have a chance still for storms in Tulsa. So stay weather aware, be prepared, not scared. You want to be prepared with these storms here. So make sure that you have several ways to get weather alerts. You're going to want to make sure that one of those ways could wake you up overnight. Weather radio is a great way to stay prepared if you are getting nervous about these storms. In Oklahoma, spring can be intimidating, but we always say stay prepared, not scared. Any other questions this evening? We can see your chat here. We see a lot of people joining in from Twitter right now, but we've got a few people on YouTube, Facebook as well. So we can see your questions and your comments from Facebook and YouTube. I'm not quite sure if we can see them from Twitter. So you can always head over to Facebook and YouTube if you want to put your comments in the chat, and we can see that. I can see that on my side, and then I can pop that up over here, just as you can see that I did right there. Yeah, of course. You're welcome, Linda. And we can always go back to some of the models. We did show them earlier, but we can show them again if you guys have other questions about locations across the country for storms over the next few hours. This is what I like about YouTube and Facebook is we can talk back and forth. We can jump on, we can jump off and talk about those storms as they form. I mean, we can do this real time. And you guys can see our thought process as meteorologists. Matt Van Every out in the field, he's a meteorologist as well. Storm chasing right now, he's a meteorologist. He gave you a lot of great insight about those storms that are forming right now in Sealing, or potential thunderstorms that are forming in Sealing and in the Tologa area right now. right there. I mean, you have to have a strike of lightning if you want to be a thunderstorm. So we'll wait. We'll see it pop up. You'll see these little lightning strikes on our graphics system. This little storm out by the state line, it popped up really quick. Right there. Now, the HRRR earlier wanted to put storms in between this like Vicida Weatherford area. So it nailed it almost. And it had storms blowing up really, really fast. So one person's saying, how's Colorado looking? I'll definitely get to that here in just a minute. Give me just a minute to pull up our models, and then I can get to answering these questions here about how is Colorado looking. All righty, let's get to some of your questions here. How is Colorado looking right now? So let's go from Oklahoma. Okay. We have some pretty impressive storms. I told you this earlier I told you that it looked impressive earlier, but we haven't gotten an update on how strong it is. So let's get that update here. And let me just actually make sure that you guys can hear me. Give it just a minute. Yes, so we've got a storm out near Kiowa in Elbert area. And I said it looked pretty impressive earlier, but really, okay, you can't hear me. How impressive is it? 2-inch size hail out in the Kiowa Albert area here. Now, here's the funny thing about Colorado is if these storms pivoted just to the northwest, just a little bit, 2-inch size hail in Denver. However, because these storms are just outside of Denver city limits, they're really not impacting too many people. So 2-inch size hail here in this area, lots of lightning and thunder in this area as well. We've got a really good core going on here. You go back to the west just a little bit across 25 here, and you've got another severe thunderstorm warning people of Perry Park and just to the east of South Platte for quarter size hail. These storms really haven't moved much today at all. For those just to the south of Denver, it has been a rainy day all evening long. See, these storms went through Castle Rock earlier. Then you had another one coming back from the west, just in that exact same area, hitting people once again in the Castle Rock area. And that's how it's been for most of these storms, just along this little corridor, anywhere from South Platte to Castle Rock to Elizabeth to Kiowa. I feel like I've said those cities many, many times today. Now, these storms have and will continue to track to the east near the Lehman area, as storms have done before them as well. So you can see this watch issued, and it seems like a pretty accurate area for storms here. It says that the watch includes large hail up to 2.5 inches in size. So some pretty large hail here. Tornado or two possible, but really that hail is going to be the biggest threat for Colorado. So great question. How is Colorado looking? You guys definitely have I mean, they're very isolated, but several storms going on right now. So we'll see what happens over the next few hours. You do still have a watch until 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Yeah, so this watch was issued right around 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it goes until 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And I would almost bet that it gets extended a little bit. They may take off a few counties in here, but I bet it would get extended. So great question. On the side of your screen, on that right side there is a live look from Edmond, Oklahoma, which could see some storms later on this evening. Edmond is just to the north of Oklahoma City. So we've got a camera set up, and we've also got storm chasers out in the field out near the Tologa area. But we're waiting for those storms to form up in Edmond. Now, I don't think that storms are going to form over here. I bet they would track into the Edmond area. But once they do, we will be waiting for those storms. We've got this camera facing to the northwest, so we'll see these storms as they move in later on tonight. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Speaking of, when is the last time we got an update on our models? We looked at the HER earlier and the NAM. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, those are some of the I feel like the most popular models to look at. I wouldn't say they're necessarily the best all the time, but probably the most popular models to look at. They're short-term models, so you can see things happening over the next few hours. They may not be the best, but they are going to show you what is going to happen over the next few hours, and they've been pretty accurate. They nailed that St. Louis storm a few days ago. They'll have some misses. Alrighty, let's take a look at our models once again. So here's what I'll do. I'll keep that Edmund camera down on the bottom side of the screen, and then I'll keep your models on the left side of the screen. So here's what we're expecting. Pivoting a little bit from our last model run, if we go back to our most previous model run, we were expecting storms to fire a little bit earlier, probably about 30 minutes ago, if not to about an hour ago. Storms really wanted to go up near the Tologa to Weatherford area. However, now it looks like the HRRR is going to pull storms a little bit closer to the highway, Highway 40 here. So, well, I say closer to the highway, maybe not, maybe closer, out to the west, just the west of Tologa. And then storms diving down to the highway, Weatherford, Oklahoma, impacted by those storms right there. This will continue to track down to the south as we head into the late night hours tonight. So we're talking about 11 o'clock, midnight tonight, into places like Chickasha, and then maybe even south of Norman into our overnight hours. Now, what's interesting about this model here is we're going to bookend Oklahoma City, where we've got storms to the south and storms to the north, but not in Oklahoma City itself. So will storms actually hit the city? We'll see. We also have a chance for storms up to the north into the Guthrie and Enid areas into the overnight hours tonight. And as I told you guys earlier, it looks like the potential for storms in Tulsa is going to become a lot more likely as we head into the overnight hours. So we're talking after sundown. I mean, it's sundown right now. That's not hard to forecast for. Let's be a little bit more specific here. We're talking about more like 10, 11 o'clock tonight into early tomorrow morning. So you may get your first few raindrops late tonight, 10, 11, midnight. But really, I think that big severe risk is going to be early tomorrow morning, where you could get some hailers in here. Again, the biggest risk for places like Tulsa is going to be large hail and high wind. That tornado risk is possible. However, you're going to have a better tornado risk out in western Oklahoma. So tornado, high wind, large hail, and then as we see storms into the overnight hours, we're seeing more of that large hail and high wind risk. But a few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. We just cannot rule it out here. So that is the HRRR model. And then through the overnight hours, we've got storms up in southern Kansas, probably causing a flooding issue up there in addition to those severe risks. And then we've got more storms as we go into early Saturday morning, once again in Tulsa. So you could be waking up to storms overnight tonight after you've already gone to bed around 1, 2-ish. And then you could also see storms early tomorrow morning, waking you up for the second time in here. Early tomorrow morning before lunchtime. So I would say in between about breakfast and lunch, right in the time that you would drive to church. That's the time that you're expecting storms to come in here. So I know Linda's been asking about Tulsa, so I wanted to include Tulsa in our forecast update, including, we talk about Oklahoma City all the time, but I wanted to include Tulsa in that as well. Looking at the NAM Nest has storms kind of taking their sweet time over the next few hours and then really getting going overnight tonight. Pretty similar timeline for Tulsa here. And then lots of rain up in Kansas early tomorrow morning. Woohoo, look at tomorrow. The NAM Nest, getting a little excited here. The HRRR has a pretty similar outlook here. Storms will start to fire in the Texas Panhandle and then track into Oklahoma City across 44 and 35 as we head into the late night hours tomorrow night and into early Monday morning. So again, you could be waking up with storms early in the morning or late at night, depending on how you look at it. So we're talking about maybe midnight to 5 o'clock tomorrow and with another round of storms. Any other questions here? All right. Well, while we wait for our storm chasers to hop back on here, we have been getting updates from Matt Van Every out in northwestern Oklahoma in the Sealing area. So just in this kind of like northwest corridor is where we've been tracking storms this evening. And more specifically, anywhere from Putnam to Sealing, we've been watching storms form out here. Now, I mean, they're not storms yet. We don't have any strikes of lightning, no rumbles of thunder in this area from what we can see on the radar right now. So I'm going to take a break and I'm going to wait for storms to form here. We will get back on and be updating you about the situation over the next few hours. So keep it here with Hail Trace. We'll keep you guys updated. Alrighty, we are hopping back on here to give you guys an update on the brand new tornado watch that has been issued for Oklahoma and all of the counties highlighted here in purple or pink. This is a tornado watch that goes until 4 o'clock this evening. So we are going to continue to watch these storms in this area of the state. What the National Weather Service or Storm Prediction Center is saying here is a few supercells capable of all severe hazards, including tornadoes and very large hail, are possible in western Oklahoma this evening. And I hear a little echo here. So give me just a minute as I fix that echo. But you guys put your questions and your comments in the chat here, and I can see them on the side of the screen. First one that I see is, do you think we'll get any storms in Owasso? So, kind of looking ahead to the next few hours and the overnight hours here, Tulsa area, one of the suburbs is Owasso, Oklahoma. And we will answer that question here in just a minute. But let me fix my echo real quick because I'm hearing a little bit of sound echo coming from somewhere in our sound system. So give me just a minute and then we will answer those questions. Alrighty. So yes, let's get to some of those questions because I know that while we have one severe thunderstorm warning right now, people are looking ahead to the next few hours and they're saying, what is going to happen over the next few hours? And Owasso, Oklahoma is included in this new meso discussion. So that's what this uh, polygon circle highlighted in red right here. It's a mesoscale discussion, which essentially means the mesoscale is on the city level. It means a small region that we are going to talk about to say over the next few hours, something could be happening in this area. And what the National Weather Service, or Storm Prediction Center rather, is saying about this area is they are saying that storms do pose a threat for large to very large. We're talking about larger than 2 inches, larger than the size of an egg in this area through the evening and overnight. A boundary currently focused across central western Oklahoma is expected to be the focus of thunderstorm development over the next couple of hours. As storms develop and move to the east and north of the boundary, they will remain elevated but pose a risk for large to very large hail. So the biggest thing about this that the National Weather Service just said is that they will remain elevated, which means that surface-based storms have a much, much, much higher likelihood of producing a tornado. So you get surface-based storms, you get a tornado, or they have a really good chance of producing a tornado, right? These elevated storms is going to have a more hail and wind risk here. So that's what we're expecting as we head into the overnight hours here, is that hail and wind risk off in north central and eastern Oklahoma. The likelihood for a severe thunderstorm watch in this area is pretty high, about an 80% chance for a watch issued in Ponca City, Stillwater, Tulsa, Bartlesville, and to answer your question, Owasso, Oklahoma. So Tia, thank you for that question. If we have any other questions out there, you guys let us know where you're watching from this evening. Let us know what your questions are about the forecast over the next few hours, because yes, as we waited and waited and waited for these storms to form, they are finally forming in western Oklahoma. So we've got a few lightning strikes out in Canton, Oklahoma. That's where our storm chasers are at right now. And then we've got a severe thunderstorm warning highlighted here in yellow for golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This goes until 10:15 this evening. So I actually need to update the ticker at the bottom of your screen because I think that the previous warning only goes until 9:45. So let's update that to 10:15. So that is now updated. This information that's just at the bottom of your screen down here should be completely updated at this time. Now I can see that we've got a few people watching on Facebook, a few on YouTube, but the majority of our followers come from Twitter. So thank you guys for watching right now. I think that the only places that you can comment are YouTube and Facebook. So if you are on Twitter, head over to our YouTube and Facebook pages and you can comment and we can see those comments. Now, just to recap on this severe thunderstorm warning that's out near the state line right now, this again is moving to the southeast at about 20 miles an hour. Golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds are going to be your biggest threat here. This camera that you see on the right side of your screen is an Edmond camera. So Oklahoma City and Edmond, a pretty populated area of Oklahoma here. Edmond is just to the north of Oklahoma City, so we are keeping an eye close to home, but we are also watching storms out in the west. And what we have seen today, we've gotten updates from our storm chasers earlier this evening whenever it was still daylight, and they were sitting near the I think it was the Ceiling and Taloga area. They were hanging out over here watching those storms form today. And they were giving us an update on those storms. So really that storm that they had their eyes on here is our next storm to keep an eye on. It moved off to the east into the Canton area. Wow. Did I time that correctly or what? Severe thunderstorm warning officially for this storm that I said keep your eye on. All righty, let's see what it's warned for. Quarter size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This is a slow mover, and this is something that we've seen just over and over here, is that we have slow movers this evening. This is moving to the east at 5 miles an hour, a very, very slow mover here. Moving to the east at 5 miles an hour, a severe thunderstorm was located near Canton Lake. Warned for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Now, again, we've got some larger hailstones from this storm out off near Crawford and Roll, moving into Strong City and Hammond and Moorwood area. One place that we told you to watch for earlier this evening, we told you that the Weatherford area has a pretty good chance to get storms tonight. So we'll have to wait and see if the storm can track a little bit farther to the east into Weatherford, but I still think anyone right along the highway here, Foss, Weatherford, Bridgeport, El Reno, Hinton, Yukon, all needs to keep their eyes on the weather tonight. You go up to the north, you've got Putnam, Watonga, Thomas, Geary, and those communities all need to keep an eye on storms tonight. Other places that have the potential for a severe thunderstorm watch to be issued here. So we've got a tornado watch down here, severe thunderstorm watch up here to the north in Ponca City, Enid, Hominy, Bartlesville, Claremore, Veneta, Tulsa, Muskogee. It has not been issued yet. However, it is expected to be issued here pretty soon. So that's kind of what this red polygon means right here. Is that we're expecting that to be issued here pretty soon. If we widen this view up a little bit, go out a little bit, what are we watching for across the U.S.? Out in Denver, just to the south of Denver, we've seen these storms just all evening long, just right over the same area over and over and over. This area has gotten hit one storm after another, after another, after another. So we still have some ongoing storms up there. What are they warned for? They are warned for ping pong ball size hail. Let's go down to the south into Texas. Will these storms impact places like Abilene? Maybe if they continue to form down to the south like this, but if they continue to form down to the south and they continue to stretch, or what we like to call unzip southward, sorry, answering a question real quick. If they continue to stretch down to the south here, they could impact places like Abilene, but they could also get so clustered that they become less of a threat. As storms cluster together, they have less space to organize and they become really, really messy. So that lack of organization oftentimes leads to weaker storms. And we're talking about storms with smaller hailstones, but we could still see that wind threat. And I bet, just judging by how the shape of this storm, this cluster of storms right here, I bet there's a pretty decent wind threat with these storms. Yeah, we've got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail and a ton of lightning with these clusters of storms right here. What about our Gulf states? Nothing severe out in our Gulf states right now. So we've got Anniston to Montgomery, Alabama, all the way down to the southern side of Mississippi. It's pretty quiet right now. I mean, you may have some thunderstorms, but other than that, nothing severe. So really what we're watching for here is that area in between Oklahoma City. I mean, Oklahoma City is not in the watch, but if you just go outside of the city into just outside of Oklahoma County here, into places like Yukon and Mustang, you are included in a tornado watch. And if these storms continue to develop here, we are going to see this trend continue where we will eventually have Oklahoma City in a tornado watch, however, or a severe thunderstorm watch. But that is not the case yet. So we will keep an eye on it for you as we wait for your questions and comments to come in. Ooh, hang on, tornado warning. All righty, let's get some information on this tornado warning here. One moment, tornado warning for, let me just tell you what the National Weather Service has here. Tornado warning until 10:15 this evening. So we've got 45 minutes on this warning right here. The biggest hazard will be tornado and golf ball size hail. And the biggest impact, according to the National Weather Service here, is flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. So again, that's coming from the National Weather Service of Norman, and this warning will go for the next 45 minutes, impacting Crawford, Roll, Strong City, Herring, Morewood, and Hammond. Now, oftentimes we like to keep this chat on the lighter side. We like to talk about storms, you know, and how gorgeous it is whenever these are not hitting other people. Once we get this tornado threat in here, this becomes very serious. So we want to take it seriously. And I want to now switch over to our 4-box, which will show you. I want to move this over a little bit. But your 4-box is going to show you a more detailed look at this storm. So give me just a minute to set that up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a very detailed look at this storm. Just a minute, and this will pop up here. And we can look at all different things, from reflectivity to correlation coefficient to storm relative velocity, and all of these different factors are going to tell us something different about the storm. And our radar is loading. It's populating data. It's going to take a minute, so I'll switch over whenever this officially loads. And I'm gonna, while I wait for this to load, I'm going to see if the National Weather Service of Norman has any other updates for you here. One thing that they have alerted us of is that this area all the way into Clinton, and then a little bit farther down to the south. So let's see if Clinton will pop up on the map here. There you go. And then a little bit farther down to the south, what we're watching for in this area is an increasing tornado threat. So even though we are only tornado warned for Herring, Hammond, Morewood right now. I want you in Clinton, Bessie, New Cordell, Rocky. If you guys have friends in this area, and I know Clinton is going to be the biggest city in this area, if you guys have friends in this area, make sure that they are aware of the tornado threat that could be moving their way. According to the National Weather Service, there is an increasing threat for a potential tornado. Have multiple ways to receive warnings, have a plan if a warning is issued. So right now, what you're doing right now in this area, from Hammond to Stafford to Clinton to Elk City, what you're doing in this area is you're making a plan. You're saying, if a warning is issued, what is my plan? We officially have our first hail alert or local storm report, our first hail report of the evening. This is for a quarter size hail, 1 inch in size. In Ellis, Oklahoma, an emergency manager reported that hail report out there. And let's see if our data has populated on our 4-box here. It has not. I'm not quite sure why our data is not populating on our 4-box. But we're waiting for it. It says it's downloading. So we will wait for that to pop up here. Any other questions this Saturday evening? We are still tracking this tornado warned storm across the western portion of Oklahoma right now, moving along into some more populated areas. Right now, it's in a pretty unpopulated area. There's a few people out here. Of course, any tornado warning is important to talk about. Any location across the country, important to talk about. But as we get closer to Elk City and Clinton areas, you're going to see a lot of a more populated region here. So these are definitely areas that you don't want a tornado warning. Again, this is warned for golf ball size hail and the potential tornado. And we've already gotten a report of quarter size hail from the Ellis, Oklahoma emergency manager. That's in Durham. That's the city. And then Ellis is the county. And we are looking for hail pictures right now to show you. So we'll continue to do that as we wait for more information to come in. And as always, if you have any tornado, hail, or storm pictures, send that our way. Do that in a safe way, of course. Don't take those pictures in an unsafe way, but we'd love to see your hail and tornado pictures this evening across Oklahoma. Little update to this severe thunderstorm warning out in Longdale and Canton, Oklahoma. We've got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail, and this is where our storm chasers were earlier. And we can see your questions and your comments on the side of the screen. So I can see them coming in from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Whenever we talk about them, we show them just like this. If we have a question, we pop it up on the screen. So you'll be able to see your comments on the screen here, just like this. So let us know if you guys have any questions or comments out there. We can actually take a look at our Edmond camera right now. Pretty quiet across Edmond, Oklahoma. So for those of you that are watching from Oklahoma City, you still have a pretty quiet night. No storms around Oklahoma City right now. Edmond, Oklahoma City, not even included in that tornado watch. However, you go farther back to the west, and there's where all of those storms are. From Leedy to Crawford to Roll, Cheyenne, Hammond, all included in that tornado warning right now. And let's check on our 4-box. We are still not seeing any data populated from GR Analyst right now. Not quite sure what the deal is there. But there is no data populating from GR Analyst. Very interesting. I'm not quite sure if that's a computer issue or a data polling issue. Just have to see if it pops up. But until then, we'll talk about this tornado warning that's moving into Crawford and Roll right now. We've got tons of lightning with this, and still the National Weather Service has this warned for golf ball size hail and the potential of a tornado. It's moving to the southeast at about 25 miles an hour. So this is a relatively slow moving storm. This supercell is tornado warned until 10:15 this evening. So we've got another 24 minutes. We've got another 40 minutes left on this warning. So those are the only 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in the state. However, we do have another storm that is just south of the Oklahoma and Texas state line here near Guthrie, Guthrie, Texas. Big lightning storm really from this. Other than that, it's your garden variety severe thunderstorm. We got 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. You go up into Justisburg, Augustus, and you've got another brand new warning here, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. So down in Texas, those are your warnings. An update for our Colorado viewers right now. We have a brand new watch. So this is a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 4 a.m. So 4 a.m. for eastern Colorado and western Kansas. There's your tornado watch and another severe thunderstorm watch right here. So these watches are, because of these just isolated severe thunderstorms, you know, they're strong to severe, pretty isolated as of now, but you've got a few more storms that just formed over the last hour here. And they are looking a little bit more impressive. I mean, they may have some potential as they continue to move to the east. We've got some lightning strikes, cloud to cloud lightning strikes that are also forming just to the north of Lehman right now. So those are your severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. And because of the nature of this storm, I'm going to go ahead and leave this radar up right here. We'll leave it full screen. Oftentimes we pull in our Edmund camera over here, but because of the nature and the severity of this storm that is tornado warned right now, we're going to leave this up and we're going to watch this come into places like Crawford and Roll, Strong City, Herring, all in the place in the path of this potential tornado right now. Amanda jumping on here, asking on Facebook, is there a tornado near Clinton? So no, as of right now. There's your short answer, Amanda. So no, as of right now. Here's Clinton on the map. Let me highlight that or circle that with my mouse for you. Clinton is on the map. However, the National Weather Service did include Clinton in a region that they want to be prepared for a potential tornado. So they highlighted this area right in here, anywhere from Clinton down to the south of I-40, all the way up to Hammond and Butler. And they highlighted this area saying that there was an increasing tornado threat. And the actions that they wanted you to take was to be prepared and have a plan if a warning was issued. So again, short answer, Amanda. No, there is not a tornado near Clinton right now. However, the tornado potential is increasing in this area. That's not something to scare you. That's something to say, hey, be prepared. Have a plan if a warning is issued. Stay up and watch this storm as it approaches I-40 here. As it approaches the highway, we'll have a lot more information on what it does over the next few, I would say probably an hour. I would say probably the timeline to get to Clinton would be within the next hour. So, I can actually give you that exact timeline here. So give me just a minute and I'll get you a timeline for whenever we expect this storm to go into Clinton. Pretty impressive looking storm here. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh, not Nashville. 1 second. Let me pull up this Clinton storm again. Okay, so here's your storm right now, probably producing some decent hail right in this area that you see that kind of looks like a thunderstorm producing hail. That's the area that you're watching for large hail right now. And what we can do here is we can put a track on this storm and we can say if it's moving to the southeast at 25 miles an hour, then when should it approach the Clinton area? And I'm going to give you guys a little extra time here. So we're going to make it move just a bit faster, just in case it speeds up a bit. And actually, it's moving so slow that we can't even get a ton of cities on our map here. So Clinton, you've got over an hour until this storm gets to you. We're talking about 12 minutes until it reaches Strong City. 33 minutes until Hammond, 45 minutes until Butler, and 51 minutes until Carpenter. So not even reaching I-40 within the next hour here. So we've got a little bit. So great question. Is there a tornado near Clinton? No, there is not. However, within the next hour, I want you to have a plan in case you do have a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning issued for your area. What should your plan be? You should probably find the nearest room, the center of your house. So put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You want this room to not have any windows in it at all. This is your time, if you live in an apartment complex, that you can contact your neighbor on the lowest floor of the apartment complex. You can say, hey, we have a tornado warning nearby. If it does come into this area, if we get a warning, can I come down and shelter in your place? You don't want to be on anything but the first floor or a basement during a tornado warning. So really try to get off those top floors of the apartment buildings. You don't want to be there. So great question, Amanda. Any other questions on this Saturday evening? Again, we are tracking these storms as they go into Oklahoma here, and we'll continue to track them. However, I want to leave up the radar here. It's getting pretty late, but I want to leave up the radar. So what we're going to do here is we're going to leave up this radar so you guys can see the warnings coming for your area. We will update as much as we can the scroll at the bottom of the screen just below the camera view here, and we'll continue to track these storms. We do have storm chasers out in this area, so we will catch up with them as they get something and report back to us. So we'll keep you guys updated as we know more as well. As always, I'll come back on as there are more questions and comments in the chat, and we will continue just to answer your questions as the night goes on. For a little update before we hop off of here, there is still a tornado watch anywhere from the Crawford area, including Duncan, Oklahoma, not including Oklahoma City, but if you just go outside to the west into the metros, you've got more, you've got a tornado watch issued for places like Yukon and Mustang, Oklahoma. 2 warnings right now, one severe thunderstorm warning out in Canton, and then the other for Roll, and then a tornado warning for Hammond, Morewood, Roll, and Strong City, moving down to I-40 eventually within the next hour. So we've got some time until these storms pass over Elk City, Foss, Stafford, and Clinton. Again, this is a isolated storm right now. Not everyone in this area is expecting to get a storm. However, it's a pretty decent sized storm. So we are going to leave this up here and I will get back on and answer your questions. We've seen some great questions tonight. So I will get back on and answer your questions as they come in. And we will continue to track these storms. These are all the questions that we've answered so far tonight. So, yep. Okay. Well, we will leave this up here so that you guys can watch the warnings and we'll get on if there is a new warning or a new watch and update you. Oklahoma, and our viewers from around the U.S. You know, we cover storms nationally, but we are based here in Oklahoma, so we love to cover storms at home as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning ongoing across the Hitchcock area and with Tonga. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning anywhere from Roll out towards Leedy and Morewood. However, while this was tornado warned earlier, it is not tornado warned anymore. So we can actually take this off of there. And I do want to give you an update on this warning here. It's warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and $half size hail. And this severe thunderstorm warning here in Canton is $half size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Now, if you kind of watch this track, it goes into Oklahoma City, you know, just kind of draw lines to the south and east. Yeah, we have a storm in Oklahoma City later on tonight. It's possible. We've got some scattered showers and storms up near the Punk City to Perry area as well. So those will become more of a threat towards Tulsa, Hominy, Stillwater as we head into the overnight hours. It is almost 11 o'clock now, so we are going to hop off of here, but I wanted to give you just a quick situational update before we do hop off of here. We have another watch, a severe thunderstorm watch for places like Lehman to Colby, Kansas, and then we have one severe thunderstorm warning from Spur to Snyder. So as of right now, we've got these garden variety thunderstorms ongoing right now, but the large hail threat, the tornado threat, the high wind threat still remains as we head into the overnight hours. So stay vigilant. Of course, we'll be updating you tomorrow on anything that we missed overnight. Until then, refer to your local news or your local National Weather Service for all severe updates. They will be the best to keep you safe as you head into the overnight hours. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hit that follow and subscribe button because we will be updating you every single weekday with your noon forecasts. Yes, we do a forecast every single weekday at noon. So watch our noon forecasts as we head into the rest of the severe weather season every single weekday at noon, and then a few weekends if there is a big severe weather outbreak, we will always do a forecast on the weekends. So again, we appreciate you guys joining us this evening. We will, of course, be updating you tomorrow on all storms from the overnight hours. Have a good evening. Have a good and safe Memorial weekend.